Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Mavs Moneyball After Dark. This is Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. We are joining you a shade before 9 p.m. on Sunday, January 8th, 2023. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Okay. Weird game.
Yeah.
The Mavs kind of fell apart against the Thunder. Obviously, Luka Doncic doesn't play, so the Mavericks fall 0-4 when he doesn't play. This was kind of a challenging one because on the one hand, you very much understand why they lost. Their superstar didn't play. On the other hand, they had a pretty good lead, and the lead just got away from them. And they really they lost it. The game was primarily lost in the second quarter. And the Mavericks just, every time they'd fight a little bit, then they'd get knocked back down. And it's just, it's expected. I would have liked, I understand why they sat Luka. They got a road trip ahead. They play a lot of games. He's played a lot of minutes. I don't know. Just, it would have been nice to see them pull one out.
Yeah, for sure. I think what's disappointing about this game compared to the other Luka-less games is that it looked like they had a puncher's chance on offense. And that's usually the concern with no Luka. You're like, well, how are these guys going to score? And the Mavericks they shot 36% from three. They made 14 3-pointers. They outscored the Thunder from the 3-point line. And you're like, man, kind of feels like they lost this. This would have been a really good one to steal.
Doubled up on free throws.
Yeah, they were. Their offense wasn't really. It caught up to them at points in this game, but I don't think the offense was a huge reason why they lost. The reason is the defense. And when you lose a game because of defense without Luka, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow, regardless of what you want to say about Luka's defensive improvements or lack of improvements. The fact that anyone that watched this game when they turned it off, if they asked, hey, so what was it, offense or defense? I'd have to imagine the majority would say defense. The Thunder kind of did whatever they wanted, especially in that first half. They gave up 69 points to a Thunder team that is definitely friskier than your Houstons and your San Antonios and your Detroit tanking teams, but they're still not a playoff team. They're not even a play-in team. So, it's tough. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really good, but you let Lou Dort get 3-pointers. You let some of these guys get some open looks. The rim was kind of a layup line at times in the first half. That's the part that's tough because 3-point shot variance, some of that we've talked about before. You've talked about it with your friend Seth Partnow about how that some of that is just out of your control in terms of your defense. But stopping guys from making layups is definitely within your control on the defensive end of the floor. And the Mavericks they didn't have it tonight, and they got a little bit better in the second half. But it was they lost the game in the second quarter, and they couldn't really come back from that.
Well, and you said they didn't really have it tonight.
Yeah.
which
they haven't had it for a while.
Yeah, and the surface area reasons why they don't have it are pretty obvious.
Right.
When your three best defensive players are out, you're not going to play good defense. I really don't know what to add to that. I don't expect certain things from Christian Wood. So it's like when I see folks talk, oh, Christian Wood's playing better defense, doing da-da-da, he's getting blocks. That's just, no, I don't see that. But I don't expect it. I'm not wish casting. And when you win 8 out of 10 games, you look for the positive elements, and you can see some negative elements. And the defense is one of those things. But again, they've won 8 out of 10 games. What are you going to do? And until the guys come back from injury, Green and Dorian Finney-Smith, there's really not much to do there. Like they're never going to play good rim defense this season. I don't think that's in their being. There's
they
a
lost
weird
their best
section.
they lost their best rim defender, Maxey.
Right.
We don't know when he's coming back, if he does come back.
And there's this weird section of fans that really I've seen some clamoring for McGee, and I don't know how to explain this to people. JaVale McGee is very tall with very long arms. That is things that he is, but that has never equated to good rim defense. And don't throw Lakers numbers at me, because he wasn't that good then, 3 years ago, but I don't know. That's fine. This is just sort of who they are. And we've talked about it a lot. It probably chafes kids' sensibilities, but they've leaned into the offense a little bit more. And they've gotten what they've gotten. I mean, Tim Hardaway shot 6 of 18 tonight, and the quality of shots that he gets are just very different when he plays with Luka, which is obvious. He can't break anybody down off the dribble, so he's forcing a lot of shots. This one felt
same for Dinwiddie as well. They both played very similar shooting games.
Yeah. Geez, look at that. Those two are combined 12 of 34. That's tough.
Yeah. And Tim actually was pretty good on threes. Like you said, it was just the team as a whole was pretty good on threes.
Well, they hit their first 4 threes.
Yeah.
And then they hit.
They got a 12-3 or 12-5 lead, and I was like, okay, maybe this is just one of those games where they just ride a hot shooting night and they get a lucky win. But yeah, it was not in the cards.
So they went 10 of 35 the rest of the way after making those. Still a low turnover game, which I think is interesting and good. The fact that this team can control the ball is up there. It's just you get to the second half of the bench at all, and it's when you're missing this many guys, what are you going to do? I mean, I saw tease my friend Reddit Mavs, who was just like, I don't know who any of these guys are. One of these guys sounds like a 2K creative player. And I'm like, I then tweeted out our bench reads like a list of Skyrim NPCs. I don't, who if you weren't a Mavs fan, would you know who Wright the Fourth is, and Pinson and Lawson, and I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's really interesting?
I mean, I'm probably gonna have to write about the defense after this game, not like a breakdown, but just kind of like the numbers, because I feel like it's our man Iztok, I think, has been the only one I've seen really talking about it, because I think with Luka and the way this team plays on offense, that just is the conversation. And it's also because it's easier to diagnose offense and defense, because the defensive data is just not very reliable like it is for offense. So it's easier to talk about it. But last 2 weeks, they're 22nd in the league in defense, 118.7 points given up per 100 possessions. They're now 18th on the season. So
it's not as bad as I would have thought.
No, it's not. And I think it's because they had a nice little, you played Houston and San Antonio a couple times. That definitely helped. So we'll see. I think they got close to top 10 in defense toward the end of that winning streak. So that just kind of goes to show you what's happened in the last couple of games. Unfortunately, the NBA box score data has not updated the shooting charts, because I really wanted to look up how many shots at the rim OKC got tonight, because it felt like a lot.
It is, but so is that more on just using your eyes and what you understand about this team, is that more on the Mavs defense, or the fact that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drives more than any player in the league by a significant margin?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can do about Shai. To me, it was like other guys getting involved. Like, look at OKC's bench, and if you look at the box score and you look at their shooting numbers, um, 3 for 6, 3 for 6, 1 for 2, 3 for 4. Like, I mean, those guys shouldn't be getting, those guys, a bench against a bad team shouldn't be getting, it's not like the bench got unreasonably hot from three. A couple of guys made some threes, but, former Maverick Amarui was 3 of 6 from the floor, 6 points. He's not taking any threes. Terrence Mann didn't make any threes, and he scored 6 points on 3 or 4 shooting. What Shea did, you kind of expect, but Kenrich Williams had scored 14 points on 8 shots. It just, obviously Shea's dribble penetration set some of that up, but they were just kind of getting smoked in one-on-one situations, which is just,
and I don't know,
there's nowhere to go from there. Yeah.
Like it just, you can't, that's not something that's improving. I mean, we've kind of beat the bullet horse to death. I'm just sort of settled on the fact that I think they may try to move him. I never would have said that, but I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to move him. He's an affordable contract with a good reputation.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing I noticed, I tweeted it, but Christian Wood had, you talked about how the team didn't, only 12 turnovers, which was good. Wood had 4 of them. And something I'm noticing, he had a pretty solid game offensively. Defensively, he's part of the problem at the rim.
Yeah.
But offensively, like, he had another good game. But something I think his next step is going to be, I don't know, if it's with Dallas or with another team, or wherever it's going to be. I don't know if you've noticed this, but teams are starting to pick up on like how good he is at getting the ball to the basket. Like the scouting report feels like it's catching up a little bit. And I feel like teams are really trying to get him to commit cheap offensive fouls right outside the charge circle. Like, guys are trying to like step in and take charges. Smaller guys are rotating and he's like elbowing guys. And I feel like the next step for him is like, he needs to recognize when he's going to the rim, is the guy that's rotating over trying to take a charge? If so, like, control yourself, pass out, or make that little floater. Or are they trying to contest? And when they're trying to contest, I mean, he's great. Like, he's great at finishing through contact. So he's got that part down. But I feel
I bet he'll fix that.
Yeah. That's something that you watch tape and you get repetition against it. I've noticed like the last.
I don't think on defense you could show him film and be able to change what he ought to do, because I don't think he has the reaction time. Frankly, he doesn't have
the rotations are slow.
Yeah, for sure. But offensively, it's like with that stuff under his body control, which is really good. I think that's something he figures out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's an interesting point.
I should probably write about it. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, what else is there to talk about? No Luka, kind of the result. And the only thing that surprised me again was usually when it's no Luka, it's like a 98-89 game.
Yep.
So like the defense, like a lot of people are going to write this game off because it's a scheduled loss into Luka, second night of a back-to-back. But the defense needs to, like, they don't need to be elite. Like, I don't think anyone has an expectation of them getting back into the top 10 since they've, they have no KP, no rim defense, and they have no Maxey, no rim. Their 2 best rim defenders from last season are gone.
Yeah, and
their best perimeter defenders are all out. Dorian and Josh Green are hurt. And Reggie seems to have lost a step. Like, so, I don't think they just need to be a little bit better. Like, they need to try to get to average because they're below average right now. And I don't think that's going to do them good in the second half if they can't get that closer to average. So.
I think you're right. Well, everybody prepare yourselves for a late week.
God.
I mean, all things considered,
we've been lucky.
There's the Tuesday game against the Clippers starts at 9:30 local. That's brutal. Yep. The Thursday game against the Lakers is at 9 p.m. on TNT, but again, it's a Thursday game. You're heading into your Friday. Everybody can go to work brain dead. Then there's a Saturday 9 p.m. game and a Sunday 8 p.m. game, both against Portland. One of those 2 games is going to be awful. I just don't know which one. That's my take. We had one of our guys just basically predicting a 2-2, which I'd be happy with 2-2. Road trips suck. I sort of secretly think the Mavericks just figure out, like, the Clippers are in disarray unless both Luka unless both Kawhi and Paul George play. But Zach Lowe said something on his podcast the other day that's going to tickle me for the rest of the year, that he hopes the Clippers research and paper into load management is going well. And because they just don't play. Like they
don't.
The stuff they do is stupid. And that's why they're not winning more.
And it's like, I mean, not to talk about another team too much, but it's Kawhi. Like, I mean, that's why he left San Antonio. Like he kind of runs when he plays. Like that's not even an organizational.
Everybody gets in their heads about the Lakers and LeBron, but I just don't care. They won their first division game yesterday. Their first division game. It's game 40. Yeah. Like, don't care. And then if the Mavericks lose to them, what's that?
And I cut you off. I was gonna say, and then after the 2 LA teams, it's Portland and Luka owns Portland.
Like 500 will be great. If they lose 3 of them, then I'm gonna be a little but this schedule's a bit of a march, but I'm looking kind of, doing the look ahead thing real quick. February, and that's of course right around All-Star break. Tomorrow also represents a month out from the trade deadline, by the way, so everybody knows, which is February 9th. February is a little more interesting to me, and then March is just a murderer's row of important games for the Mavericks if they want to do stuff. So it's just right now it's about notching wins and keeping their head above water. They're 4th in the West. Like what can we? There's no real bitching to be done.
No,
not even from me.
Wow, I know. Put that on your tombstone.
Right. All right, guys, we'll be back on Tuesday night late and hopefully not talk very long because the Mavericks will beat the pants off the Clippers. This has been Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. Stop by Mavs Moneyball. We got a number of things. We threw up a lot this weekend, interestingly enough, because of the back-to-back, but other reasons. And then I got 3 or 4 things scheduled already for tomorrow. Might have more just because I did one of these interesting it's like the SB Nation Reacts surveys they had me do. And the question was, did the 7-game win streak change your expectations? And I got a 50-50 split, which was really interesting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's and that dead in the middle. And like, there's a lot of voters in these things. So it's just this interesting thing. Anyway, that'll go up. And then there's a trade. I put together all the Mavs trades rumors that have happened so far, and they're hilarious. It's just, I love trade season now that Donnie's no longer involved, because that means the Mavericks names are actually in stuff. So, all right, Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe, please rate and review us. Appreciate your support. Everybody have a great start to your week. Bye, guys.